Let's get one thing straight, some lines you just don't cross. Not out here, not on this land, not in this lifetime. The day they tore down my fence, drove their shiny SUV straight through a pasture full of bulls and called it community development, well, that was the day all bets were off. See, they thought they were just taking a shortcut, building a brighter future. What they didn't know, that fence line wasn't just barbed wire. It was a promise hammered in place by my grandfather's hands, a promise older than any HOA charter, older than the board president herself. They thought I was the threat. But it was never about me. It was about the land. And the second they crossed it, there was no going back. This isn't one of those stories where some city lawyer wins the day with a loophole or a sternly worded email. No, this is about justice, the kind that comes thundering across a pasture on four hooves, horns shining in the sunrise, with a memory as long as the property line. My name's Malcolm Hayes. I've been called a few things: soldier, husband, dad. These days, folks around here mostly call me the Bull Man. Retired Army logistics officer, third generation on the same 38 acres my grandfather fenced back in 1952. I traded desert sand for tall grass, Army boots for work boots, the endless noise for the quiet strength of a herd at dusk. This land carried us through every kind of year. It raised my two boys, Grant and Ben, the way good dirt and hard work only can. Our herd's made up of purebred Charolais bulls, big, white, broad-shouldered animals, 2,000 pounds apiece, solid muscle and bone. Gentle if you know them, but always watchful. Territorial, protective, with a sense of right and wrong that goes back to the first blade of grass. Step into their pasture uninvited, you're not just trespassing property, you're challenging something older than law. Out here, fences matter. Every strand of wire, every cedar post, every inch hammered deep into red clay, it's more than just steel and wood, it's a covenant. You respect my boundaries, I'll respect yours. That's how I was raised. That's how I raised my boys. From our house at the base of the ridge, you can see the edge of what used to be hayfields and scattered oaks. Then the Summerhill Crossing subdivision crept in. Rows of identical homes, a man-made lake with palm trees, a pastel clubhouse that always seems too clean to be real. And of course, an HOA that thinks their rules stretch all the way to the wind. For years, I didn't pay them any mind. My deed predates their whole operation by 70 years. Their world ends at my fence, or at least it's supposed to. But last spring, things changed. White luxury SUV, same one, started showing up at the fence line. Clipboard sunglasses, looking around like she was scouting for a shopping mall. First time she waved, I nodded from the tractor. Second time she called out, "Mr. Hayes, ever considered collaborative use of green space?" I told her, "Ma'am, that's not green space. That's where my bulls eat, sleep, and settle their differences. It's very much utilized." She laughed like I'd made a joke. I hadn't. Her name was Karen Delaney, new president of the HOA, full of ideas and zero respect for boundaries. She wanted to build a community connector road right through my southeast pasture, called it a shortcut. Efficient, modern, great for property values. I listened once, then told her plain there would never be a road on my land without a signed easement, fair compensation, and my enthusiastic consent. She smiled like I was just being difficult, said, "We'll circle back. I'm sure we can find a neighborly solution." That was just the beginning. Not long after, my oldest, Grant, showed me a screenshot from the HOA's private Facebook group, Vehicular Access Improvement Initiative. My younger boy, Ben, found the first orange survey flags fluttering across the grass like warning signals. They weren't from the county or the utilities, just folks who believed wanting something made it theirs. I yanked every flag that night and stacked them on the clubhouse porch note attached private property. No trespassing. I thought that might end it. But Karen Delaney doesn't take no for an answer. She sees it as the opening offer. So the trouble really started. Next it was tire tracks. Deep, fresh ruts along my fence. A contractor's sign leaning against the gate preliminary work zone. I snapped it in two and tossed it in my truck bed. That night I found fresh gouges on a corner post. The bulls were restless old Jasper, pacing the fence ears turned to the ridge where the subdivision's lights glowed against the dark. 2 days later, pink flags showed up, official looking, lined up, straight tracing a line right through the best grazing ground. And parked by the gate was Karen's SUV hazard lights blinking. She stepped out, clipboard clutched like a shield. "Just verifying the revised alignment, Malcolm." I stopped her cold. "You're marking my land again." She smiled all patience. You'll receive formal notice of cooperative planning soon. Our goal is inclusion, not confrontation. Boomer! Our dog growled from the porch. I stepped through the gate, locked it behind me. Take your flags, take your SUV, and take your cooperative planning back to your side of the fence before my bulls decide to investigate. For the first time, her smile slipped. 2 days after I left a pyramid of pink flags on the clubhouse porch, Ben called. Dad, they're back, and they've got machines. I flew home. There they were, skid steer flatbed of rebar, 2 guys in vests cutting my fence. Ben filmed it all. Karen rolled up all business, called it a mix-up. I told her straight, "You're trespassing." Jasper, the biggest bull, bellowed from the ridge. Karen looked back, rattled for the first time. She tried to sound tough. "This isn't over, Malcolm. We'll find a legal path forward." "Then you better find it somewhere else," I said. That night, we worked till midnight, Grant and Ben at my side, welding new panels, bracing posts, the bulls watching from the moonlit grass. For a while, things went quiet. I reinforced the gate, put up more signs, private property, no trespassing. The line had been drawn. Now we'd see who'd cross it first. Didn't take long. The next day, a full-size bulldozer carved a trench straight through the pasture. Karen stood at the edge, latte in hand, directing traffic like she owned the place. I strode over, told the operator to kill the engine or face the consequences. He shut it down. Karen tried to play it off retroactive permits, community benefit. I wasn't buying it. You crossed the line today, legal, moral, and otherwise. The next morning, the temporary barricade we'd built was scattered. The bulls had tested the weakness and found it lacking. Jasper, Murphy, and Claymore circled the gap, restless heads high. And then came the real show. 4 HOA vehicles, including Karen's, drove right into the pasture, celebrating their future connector. Bulls saw red. Jasper hit the first car glass, exploding. Karen screaming, the whole HOA crew scrambling for safety. Bulls didn't attack out of malice. They defended their home. And for the first time, the HOA realized some boundaries aren't negotiable. The HOA board exploded, accusations, demands for animal control, even claims I was running an illegal fighting ring. I didn't bother arguing online. Instead, I called Marcus Langford, county inspector, an old Army buddy. He showed up with a drone, documented every inch, tire ruts, broken fences, trespassing vehicles. We filed charges: trespass, property destruction, livestock endangerment. Karen fired back with a cease and desist, demanded I remove all livestock. Marcus just laughed. This won't survive first contact with a judge. I filed for an emergency restraining order armed with video drone footage. 70 years of deeds. The judge granted it. Effective immediately, no HOA member could set foot on my land. But Karen wasn't done. She sent a slick young lawyer to explore peaceful resolution, basically hush money for an easement. I laughed him off. Your clients crossed every line. Prepare what you want. I'll see you in court. County inspectors swarmed the place, documented everything: soil samples, GPS, hundreds of photos. Marcus handed me a report, Category 2, agricultural interference. Not a slap on the wrist, a career ender. Word spread fast. Karen's board canceled meetings. Rumor had it their lawyer told them to stop talking. But then a new banner at the Clubhouse Community Connector Preview Day. Food Fund Tour of the Future Route. They weren't backing down, just changing tactics. On Saturday, minivans, families, and of course Karen in her SUV rolled straight into my field. Jasper and the bulls watched. Karen started live streaming her victory speech. Murphy charged, hitting her SUV like a wrecking ball. Glass shattered, airbags blew, people ran screaming. Deputies arrived, took one look, shook their heads. Cameras had caught everything. Headlines wrote themselves: HOA President's SUV destroyed by bull after trespass. Karen tried to claim I set the bulls on her, but every frame, every message, every sign, every court order said otherwise. Judge Leland, the same one who signed the restraining order, heard the case. The evidence was merciless: videos, satellite images, written warnings, everything. Karen's lawyer sputtered about dangerous livestock. The judge wasn't having it. They were livestock defending their territory. Mr. Hayes did not invite you. You ignored a restraining order. Case dismissed. Damages awarded to me. HOA ordered to pay restitution for fence repairs, lost grazing court costs. Karen sat in the courtroom, sunglasses hiding the bruises, hands trembling. I almost felt sorry for her. Almost. Afterward, things settled. The bulls grazed in peace. Rain softened the ruts. Grass grew back stronger. Karen resigned her house, quietly sold. Moving trucks rolled out one Saturday, and Jasper watched from the gate tail, flicking once as she left for good. We didn't press charges. Some debts are settled in pride, not courtrooms. Instead, we threw a cookout, neighbors, old ranch families, even a few decent folks from Summerhill. Grant and Ben talked about opening new pasture, rotating the herd. My grandfather's words echoed in my head. This dirt doesn't belong to us, son. We belong to it. Leave it better than you found it. The county closed its investigation with a letter that hangs in the barn property owner in full compliance. Judge Leland sent a note. You reminded this county that law lives in fences and generations in quiet dignity. These days I walk the line at sunrise, coffee in hand, Boomer at my heels, bulls breathing steady as ever. Land remembers every fight, every scar, every victory. The boys talk about expanding, building a new shed, maybe raising another generation here. I look toward Summerhill's tidy rooftops. They've got their roads, their rules, and a boundary they don't test anymore. Because once a line's defended, it stays drawn. The wind moves through the grass, carrying the low rumble of bulls at peace. This is home, always was. And as long as there's a haze standing at the fence, boots planted, heart-rooted eyes on the horizon, it always will be. So, tell me this, where do you draw the line? Is justice just about judges and lawyers? Or is it about the land itself, the kind of respect you carry in your bones? Drop a comment, share your story. Tell me what you'd do if someone tried to move your boundaries. Because out here, justice isn't just a word. It's something you live one fence post at a time.